On News Hour tonight. Zamfara residents protest, demand military presence. Bielsa protesters decry insecurity threats. Experts fold planned 5% fuel surcharge in 2026. And on the foreign scene, aircraft crashes in Kenya's capital, killing 6 people. Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa. Thank you so much for joining. And now, some residents from troubled communities in Kaura Namuda local government area of Zamfara State have staged a peaceful protest in Gusau, the state capital, demanding immediate government intervention to restore peace and security. This follows recent attacks that have wreaked havoc in some communities, the council area prompting residents to demand more from the authorities. The report.
The protesters, who are from Tang Isa and Jimrawa communities in Kauranamuda local government area, marched through the streets of Gusau, decrying the worsening insecurity that has displaced them from their ancestral homes for over 2 years. According to them, they can no longer farm or feed their families due to the persistent attacks by armed groups.
We don't have any food to eat. Every day, we go out looking for leaves to cook and feed our children. Sometimes, we have to beg just to survive. We are pleading with the government to restore security so that we can return home and resume farming to feed our families.
The demonstrators, including women and children, began their protest at Yeriman Bakura Specialist Hospital, moved through Sani Abacha Road and converged at the government house in Gusau, temporarily blocking the road to demand attention. They are calling on both the federal and Zamfara state governments to urgently deploy troops to their communities to protect them from bandits who continue to unleash violence on innocent residents.
We are here at the government house because of the worsening security situation in our community. We are calling on government to deploy security personnel to protect us from the constant attack by bandits. We have already met with our emir and the local government council chairman, but nothing came out of it. That is why we have brought our plea directly to state governments. Our community in Bungudu local government area has been under siege. We have been displaced for over 2 years now.
The protesters also emphasized that their demand is crucial, especially as Tang Isa ward is set to participate in Kauranamuda South by-election scheduled for August 16, 2025.
We are here to beg the government to send troops to secure our communities. Bandits have driven us from our homes, and we've been forced to keep moving from place to place just to find shelter.
They say peace and stability must be restored to allow eligible voters to safely exercise their civic rights without fear.
Now, the Niger State Governor, Muhammad Umar Bago, has vowed not to negotiate with bandits, stressing that it's unacceptable, saying he will instead seek the intervention of the President and the National Security Advisor on the issue of frequent bandit attack plaguing some local councils in the state. Bago had also observed that negotiations with bandits in some states have led to an increase in cattle rustling. The governor made his position known at a stakeholders consultative meeting on the implementation of the state's trade, animal movement security and veterinary inspection permit held in Mina on Wednesday, August 6, 2025. Speaking on the issue of people bringing in slaughtered meat from the bush to sell, he stated that necessary measures will be put in place through relevant authorities to ensure that only meat slaughtered in recognized abattoirs is sold in the markets, adding that livestock entering the state must be vaccinated. He added he had directed that no farmer should farm on the right-of-way, which is side by side with the highway, and warned herders not to allow their animals to graze on people's farms, pointing out that anyone found wanting would be dealt with accordingly. After a peace deal signed in October 2024 between communities in Birnin-Gwari local government area of Kaduna State and so-called repentant bandits, residents say a new wave of insecurity is threatening the fragile calm. The peace initiative comes after nearly a decade of violence that made the Kaduna-Birnin-Gwari highway one of Nigeria's most dangerous roads. However, residents say instead of kidnappings, bandits are allegedly roaming farmlands and communities, snatching motorcycles, mobile phones, cash and farm inputs from helpless farmers. Villagers in Kuyelo and other areas said they are again living in fear. Some avoid their farms altogether, while others leave their phones at home to avoid being robbed. The development has sparked fresh concern over the effectiveness of the peace accord. The Nigeria Forest Security Service, NFSS, has called on the federal government to formally recognize forest security as a critical component of the nation's broader security architecture. The Deputy Commander General of the Intelligence at the NFSS, John Miche, made the call in Jos, the Plateau State capital, during the training of newly recruited personnel of the service. Speaking at the training, Miche emphasized that the NFSS was established to fill a major security gap, particularly in forested areas. According to him, the agency is tasked with gathering intelligence within forest, monitoring movement, and working in synergy with other security outfits to tackle crimes such as banditry, arms trafficking, illegal mining, and cross-border criminal activities.
We have all different agencies, different security in Nigeria, but I keep saying in my previous interview that we are the missing link. The missing link in terms of the forest. The bandits have identified that the forest is ungoverned area, and nobody's monitoring the forest, nobody's securing the forest. That's where we come in, because we're indigenous. We know the terrain better than the police, better than the immigration, better than the civil defense. So while we are in the forest gathering information, we can share it with the police, we can share with the military on where the bandits and the criminals are. So we are the missing link in the architectural security of Nigeria.
Some of our officers have even paid the price to see that security has been restored in some of the communities within the state. So I think we are ready. We are fully on ground at all costs. We only want the government to identify with us.
And to this end, this lecture now is aimed at strengthening you, enlightening you, particularly the trainees and participants, on how to go about gathering intelligence or information of security value that will aid in fighting this menace.
Now, the Plateau State Council of Chiefs has urged President Bola Tinubu to take urgent steps to address the growing insecurity across Nigeria, particularly the rising cases of banditry and kidnapping. The traditional leaders made the appeal during a courtesy visit by the All Progressives Congress APC National Chairman and Governors of the Progressives Governors Forum to the Bongom's Palace in Jos. Ado Musa has the details.
The call comes amid growing concerns over Nigeria's security situation. To this end, the Plateau State Council of Chiefs wants the federal government to intensify efforts in combating the wave of insecurity affecting various parts of the country. Speaking on behalf of the council, the Bongom Jos, Da Jambuba, emphasized the need for unity and proactive governance in tackling security threats such as banditry and kidnapping.
People are not able to farm, and so we get into crisis. But above all, to see communities, various communities, bearing the young, the old to do with children is not palatable at all. We want to appeal to all of these politicians. The stability of Nigeria is what we all want. I want to say to all of you to please help Nigeria out of this security challenge.
In response, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, who also chairs the Progressive Governors Forum, acknowledged the country's current challenges, but assured that the APC-led administration is working tirelessly to restore peace and stability.
After 2 years in office, at least Nigeria was in the bush and we brought her to the road. So we can now I'm not unaware that the process of dealing this kills some things. I'm not unaware that people at the grassroots are having difficulties. I'm not unaware that the government that was in the bush has come out and is ready to come.
Similarly, the APC National Chairman, Nentawe Yilwada, reiterated the party's commitment to supporting the tinubu's administration in addressing national issues with security as a top priority.
At this moment, the Nigerian should advance democracy and democracy among her people. Today, APC has called me to give me the burden to provide leadership of the party amidst reforms, amidst changes, and ensuring that social protection of our people is provided.
The Bongong urged the governors and political leaders to collaborate with President Tinubu to find lasting solutions to the security crisis and restore confidence among Nigerians. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Now, on a sad note, the senior special reporter SSR attached to the Kano State Ministry of History and Culture, Sadiq Gentle, has reportedly died following an attack by some yet-to-be-identified hoodlums. Gentle died following the injuries he sustained from a recent violent attack using machetes at his residence. The aide was eventually taken to Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital in Kano, where he died on Thursday. Meanwhile, the Kano State Governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, has directed security agencies to swing into action and fish out the perpetrators immediately. In a condolence message issued by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Bature Dawakin Tofa, the governor described the late aide as a dedicated and patriotic social media professional whose violent death has cast a dark cloud. Governor Yusuf condemned the killing in the strongest term, describing it as heinous, barbaric, and utterly unacceptable. The governor also extended heartfelt condolence to Gentle's family, friends, and professional colleagues, assuring them that the Kano State government stands in solidarity with them during this difficult time. And now, women of Agudama community in Yanagwa, the Bayelsa state capital, have sent a Save Our Soul message to the state government, appealing for urgent intervention over what they described as constant threats, intimidation, and unprovoked attacks from members of a neighboring community. Dressed in black to express their grief and frustration, the women staged a protest that disrupted vehicle movements around the Agudama axis. Trust TV's correspondent, Friday Ebumwebwe Peter, completes this report.
Some of the protesters who spoke to Trust TV alleged that youth from the neighboring community have been harassing them on their farmlands and destroying their crops. According to the protesters, although the matter is already before a competent court of law, the alleged aggressors have continued to trespass into their farmlands and in some cases reportedly attack and even killed members of Agodama community.
This very moment now, I can't for people enter our bush again. They clear all of my women from. Then they even threaten the women. Say they go rape the women for bush. All across, and they use caterpillar. They bulldoze everything. They use gun and knife. They pursue our women for bush. No way for us to even go inside bush, collect our food, understand what but we know that this matter they caught. But yet I came for people see they enter the bush So the thing don't too much. That is why we come out today. So make the government come help us.
And Akemfa has been killing Agodama, doing all sorts of things with the women in the bush. When we go there, they will hold us, they will beat us, they will rape us. Even our husband they kill. So now this matter is beyond. We cannot fight it alone. So we need government to intervene in this matter so that there will be peace. That is all we are out here for.
The women lamented that the continued invasion of their ancestral land has left many of them living in fear, unable to access their farms and other means of livelihood.
Small time when the wind left the year, with the greater way that the greater the thing they go. Small time my sister don't come. Say see 3 boys of Akemfa boys, big bomb. She come to fear. I said no son Akemfa people. Over let's go. As we march out, now we see them. 3 of them. Now tell them say what are the fans for this food? Say mama we don't come from that side though. Now man now we come. It got one road for Agulobi. When you enter Agulobi, the last road, one road bottom for street for the road. Now there they carry kaka. They not allow kaka to enter the gate. My wood, when I take wood, I go pay my wood before I go come out.
They are appealing to Governor Doyiduri and security agencies in the state to swiftly intervene, protect lives and property, and restore peace between the two communities. Some of the protesters carried placards with messages calling for justice and end to the attacks. From Agodama community, Friday, Ebumobowe Peter, Trust TV News.
Nigeria's Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Utseb, has announced plans by the federal government to transform the Alo Dam in Maiduguri into a tourist attraction and incorporate a hydropower plant in the near future. According to the minister, the initiative is expected to create employment opportunities for youth and boost agricultural productivity in the region. He made the remark during an inspection tour of the dam, where he also assured residents that there is no cause for alarm over the recent rise in water levels. The report.
The rising water level at the Alo Dam has raised concerns among communities living close to the water banks, fueling fears of possible flooding. The water level has been rising and it's really scaring us, just like what happened last year. We want the government to repair the dam because it will boost farming and give us a stable place to live. But right now, as you can see, I have to travel far just to get food because I can't access my farm. Whenever it rains, the water rises dangerously close to the top of the barrier. It's making us anxious. If it overflows, it could cause serious destruction. We are pleading with the government to strengthen the dam and stop the water from spilling over. If the dam overflows, it could lead to hunger and starvation. We are calling on the government to act now before it's too late. In response, the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Utseb, visited the site to assess the progress of ongoing works by the contractors. He explained that the government has created alternative channels to safely discharge excess water, thereby preventing flooding. He also revealed that the original project design has been modified to prioritize water supply and irrigation farming, an essential step toward strengthening food security in the state. The minister further disclosed plans to eventually convert the dam into a tourist attraction site and integrate a hydropower plant to support electricity generation in the region.
The contract has been awarded, and the contract is into 2 phases. The first phase is going to have started in March and is going to end in September this year, while the second phase is going to start in October and it will end in March 2027. It's a 24 months period contract. And the essence of this phase is to mitigate, for us to prevent flooding for this season. Initially, this dam was constructed for the purpose of supplying water to the people of Maiduguri and the environment. But with the approval that he has given for the award of this contract to Mrs. Influence, this dam, when upgraded, it is not going to serve as a source of water supply alone. It is going to be used for irrigation.
There is cautious optimism that the preventive measures in place will hold, even in the face of heavy rainfall in the coming weeks. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
The National Emergency Management Agency and its counterparts in Anambra, Ebonyi, and Enugu State say they have set up machinery to respond to the impending floods in the zone. The Nigeria Meteorological Agency and the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency have issued fresh warnings about possible flooding in about 19 states in the country and called for preparedness to prevent the disaster. Report says NEMA, the State Emergency Management Agency, and other stakeholders have taken proactive measures, including sensitizing the public across the zone on how to mitigate flooding if it happens. In Anambra, the state government says it has set up about 16 holding centers for possible victims of flooding in the state. Similar efforts have also been in place in Ebonyi and Enugu to avert flooding. Now, the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority has said popular Fuji musician Wasiu Ayinde, also known as K1 The Ultimate, will be blacklisted from flying within Nigeria for 6 months over alleged misconduct at the domestic terminal of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection at the NCAA, Michael Achimogu, disclosed this on Thursday during a press briefing. Achimogu added that aviation rules are global and made for the safety of all, stressing that no individual will be exempt from accountability. He further revealed that the agency was writing to the Attorney General of the Federal and the Inspector General of Police to initiate legal proceedings against the musician. When asked whether Ayinde will be spared prosecution due to his close ties with President Bola Tinubu, Achimogu said both Tinubu and Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, were committed to upholding the rule of law. Meanwhile, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has directed that K1 be placed on a no-fly list pending the outcome of an investigation into the incident. The minister said any local and international airline that fly the singer risks its license to be withdrawn. The sanctions slammed on Ayinde followed a directive from Keyamo that the singer, who behaved unruly, wasn't above the law. And now, leadership of Nigeria Labour Congress on Thursday slammed authorities of the Nigeria Police Force over the continued detention of the 2023 presidential candidate of the Africa Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore. While condemning the arrest of the human rights activist, the NLC also said it will not allow Nigeria to slide back into the dark days of dictatorship where fear replaces freedom and dissent is met with brute force. Trust TV reported that operatives of the Nigeria police on Wednesday quizzed and detained Sowore after he arrived at the force headquarters in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, to honor the police invitation. The police, through the Inspector General of Police Monitoring Unit, was investigating Sowore over what it described as forgery and inciting disturbance. Reacting to his detention via a statement on Thursday, President of NLC Joe Ajero wondered why the police could not explore legal options instead of unending arrest of the renowned activist. Ajero noted that the freedom of speech and freedom of association are some of inalienable rights guaranteed by the Constitution, saying it is only fit and proper that the government is seen to respect these citizens' rights. And now, from January 2026, the federal government will begin forcing a 5% surcharge on fuel sold across Nigeria. For many Nigerians already battling high fuel costs, this development is another burden on their pockets. In this explainer, Abdullahi Ahmed breaks down what such charge means, how it will be collected, who it benefits, and what impact it could have on transport fares, commodity prices, and the wider economy.
Do you know that from January 2026, Nigerians could be paying 5% more on every litre of petrol and diesel, whether locally produced or imported? Well, this isn't just another tax. It is a new surcharge buried inside the government's tax reform plans. And if it goes through, it will hit households, transporters, and businesses already stretched to breaking point. Since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu removed petrol subsidy in May of 2023, prices have climbed sharply. Petrol went from 187 naira per litre to around 900 naira per litre by July of 2025. The naira has shed more than 60% of its value, pushing inflation across the board, from food and transport to school fees and medicine. Now, with a 5% surcharge added, the ripple effect will touch everything. Fuel powers transport, farms, markets, and production. And of course, if the prices goes up, so does the cost of living. The government says it needs the revenue. It claims that the surcharge will add 796 billion naira to public funds, and it will help promote fiscal sustainability. But it says it already saves $600 million a month from subsidy removal, which has increased state allocations by 40%. So the question is, why tax Nigerians again, directly or indirectly? Behind this policy is a broader economic story. High interest rates are choking businesses. With the central bank's monetary policy rate at 27.5%, banks are lending at even higher rates. These costs feed into production and are passed down to consumers at higher prices. It's a cycle that punishes both the producers and buyers. The central bank's own June 2025 Business Expectation Survey revealed a worrying trend. Average capacity utilization dropped to 58.2% from 58.7% in May. This means businesses are producing less, not because they want to, but because they can't cope with rising costs. Still, the CBN keeps raising interest rate as if that alone will tame inflation. But Nigeria's inflation is driven by supply-side problems, energy, security, infrastructure. Interest rate hikes don't solve these issues. Now, experts say these are structural problems and taxing fuel will not fix them. And then there's the refinery issue. While the government talks of local refining, the NNPCL has reversed its earlier plans to privatize the Port Harcourt refinery. Instead, it wants to retain control, despite a track record of poor management, corruption, and inefficiency. The Petroleum Retail Owners Association of Nigeria has called this out, urging the president to privatize the refinery. Selling the refineries, they say, could unlock investment, bring in expertise, and improve fuel supply. But the NNPCL now says it is keeping the Port Harcourt refinery after previously suggesting it might offload all three refineries. So, here's the big picture. A 5% tax on fuel is coming. Inflation is still rising. Businesses are slowing down, and the interest rates are biting, while the refineries will remain a black hole. This is pressure piled on pressure with no visible relief for the ordinary Nigerians. Nigerians are being asked to carry more weight in an economy already stacked against them. Policy analysts and civil society say if the government truly wants to fix revenue, it must first fix governance, plug leakages, tame waste, reform the NNPCL. At the very least, it should pause this surcharge. Because taxing essential fuel now isn't just bad policy, it is bad economics.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Yoruba culture on full display as Oshogbo Festival returns. There's some more when we return. Just stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is News Hour on Trust TV. In case you missed it, here's a recap of our top stories again. We told you that Zamfara residents protest, demand military presence. And Bayelsa protesters decry insecurity threats. And now we'll move on to more stories. Africa stands at a critical crossroad where innovation, culture, and leadership will determine its future direction. Leading the charge is IDCL Africa, an organization dedicated to promoting innovation, design, culture, and leadership across the continent. Through landmark initiatives such as the Future Cast Africa Conference, IDCL Africa brings together policymakers, entrepreneurs, artists, and technologists to collaboratively shape Africa's evolving narrative. Trust TV's Dorcas Yakubu attended this year's conference and now reports.
Held under the theme Branding Your Identity with Innovation, the 2025 IDCL Africa Conference served as a rallying point for a new generation of Africans ready to shift from passive consumption to active creation of cultural and digital identities. In an age defined by artificial intelligence, immersive storytelling, and strategic branding, this gathering couldn't be more timely or relevant.
What we are looking in Nigeria as new technology, or futuristic technology, are actually old. They've been there. But our mindset has not moved to the point that we adopt some of this technology and we use them.
About 70% of our population are under 45, and that says a lot. So this is an opportunity for people to be able to understand, for the young people to be able to understand from experienced people what's possible, what can be done, especially when it comes to communication as a whole.
Futurecast Africa was put together for all brand owners. We are coming in one room to showcase Africa brand because we see Africa as a talented and a growing place where everybody can grow, where everybody can develop, and where everybody can stand tall.
Participants emphasized that Africa's future depends on its ability to embrace innovation while staying deeply rooted in its cultural heritage. Events like this, they say, are helping to spark a new era of progress that is both authentically African and globally competitive.
So conferences like this are good, mainly to help change our mind first. It's not to introduce us to this technology. There are people in Nigeria who know this technology, but the system, the general people in the industry have not come to accept this technology.
I feel like people mistake innovation and brand new identity all the time. People want to innovate themselves, at the same time please the Western world, and at the same time lose the originality. So for us to actually promote Africa and Nigeria as a brand or as an image, we have to stay true to ourselves while moving with the times.
Attendees described the conference as impactful, insightful, and empowering.
I believe there is hope for everybody. So especially the owner of Sapphire, he actually said something. We are here to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So I've actually learned a lot.
What I've learned from the speakers that have spoken is majorly based on the mindset that you have in creating disruptive ideas, in creating things that are actually adding value to people's life.
As Africa navigates the complexities of the digital age, platforms that blend innovation, culture, and leadership are playing a critical role in shaping a self-defined and globally respected African identity. By fostering collaboration across creative, technological, and policy spaces, IDCL Africa Conference is paving the way for a more empowered, future-ready continent. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, has announced that it's discovered technical bugs in the just-released 2025 examination results. A statement issued by WAEC's Public Affairs Department on Thursday said following public outcry, it reviewed the mathematics, English language, biology, and economics results released on its site. The council, while apologizing, said it urgently corrected the technical glitches that led to the situation. It has now advised candidates who had previously checked their result to recheck after 24 hours. And now the Students' Union Government SUG of the University of Abuja has condemned the demolition of student-occupied properties at the institution's mini campus, describing the incident as distressing and unacceptable. In a statement issued on Thursday by the SUG Director of Information, Chinenye Precious, the union said that the exercise was carried out without prior notice to the student body or its leadership. The union also alleged that some students were assaulted during the process, while others lost personal belongings. Reacting swiftly, the SUG President Yusuf Tobi Jamiu visited the scene, mobilized students, and intervened to halt the demolition. He later held an emergency meeting with the Vice-Chancellor to express the outrage of the students' body. According to the statement, the Vice-Chancellor acknowledged the gravity of the situation, expressed regrets, and assured the union of prompt and appropriate action. Now, the Kano Directorate of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on Tuesday arraigned 5 officials of the Katsina State Board of Internal Revenue Service and 1 bank staff before Justice Musa Danladi Abubakar of Katsina State High Court, sitting in Katsina. The suspects were arraigned on 7-count charges bordering on conspiracy and diversion of public funds totaling 1,235,330,000 naira. These are funds accruing to the state from the World Health Organization, Medicine, Sans Frontier and Alliance for International Medical Action, ALIMA. The defendants are Noura Lawal, Sanusi Mohammed Yaro, Ibrahim Mamman, Abubakar Saidu, Rabiu Adamu Abdullahi, and Adamu Al-Bashir, identified as a public sector relationship manager with First Bank. They were alleged to have used their position as officials of Katsina Revenue Service to unlawfully converted taxpayers' money to their personal use. The offense is contrary to Section 58 of the Penal Code Law of Katsina State and punishable under Section 298 of the same law. All 6 defendants pleaded not guilty to each of the charges prepared against them. And now, adherents of the Osun Sacred Goddess in a high spirit in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, as preparations peak for this year's Osun Osogbo Festival. The annual event attracts traditional worshippers and tourists from around the world, contributing significantly to the local economy. Hamid Oyegbadi now reports.
The Osun Osogbo Festival is a week-long cultural celebration held every August. This year's edition officially began with the Iwopopo rites at Gbaemu Junction and will climax on Friday at the sacred Osun Grove. Traditionalists from across Nigeria and beyond have converged on Osogbo, describing the festival as a moment to renew their spiritual connection with the Osun goddess.
The significance of Osun Osogbo Festival is to acknowledge our ancestor, also to seek for more blessing. It is part of the pledge that our ancestors make when this town was found. The festival of Osun Osogbo has to do with the foundation of city of Osogbo. So we come to acknowledge and we come to seek for more blessing for the town to be more expand in progress and to acknowledge what the Orisha had been doing in the past for us.
I always make sure I am available during the festival to play my own role where my father, to take it up where my father stopped. And being partaking in the festival, I am so happy, and I pray that this year's festival will be one of the best as usual because every year things change for the festival. Last year, there were some certain things that was not initiated, but this year, and new things were being initiated. And I know next year, another new things will be initiated again. So the festival means a lot to me.
Oshun is what's celebrated because I told you earlier, she's a good mother. She is everything we needed. She gives good health. Though we believe Olodumare because we pray to Oshun through Olodumare. You understand? Oshun is a deity, but we believe in her through Olodumare. So she's worth celebrating. Yes.
Oshun helps us to have children and blessing and happiness and peace. So we come to Oshun, we ask her for the things we want, and she'll give it to us. What better reason to come to Oshogbo? Oshun helped found Oshogbo. You know, she comes to Oshogbo and Oshun Tura. So Oshun comes to Oshogbo, Orumla comes to Oshogbo, and all the Orumla come to Oshogbo. So what better example do we have than to come to Oshogbo and ask for the things that we desire?
The festival, which celebrates the Yoruba goddess of fertility, is seen by worshippers as an opportunity to receive divine blessings and reflect on cultural heritage. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
Now, the livelihoods of thousands of pastoralists in Nigeria's northeastern border region are receiving a major boost through a regional initiative aimed at strengthening livestock production and trade. The pastoralism and livestock marketing in the Cameroon, Nigeria and Chad cross-border territories, also known as the PASCO project, is currently being implemented in Adamawa and Borno State. Trust TV's Gibson Swadigo reports from Yola.
And the borderlines of Adamawa and Borno states, herders and livestock traders have long relied on traditional routes, locally known as burti, to transport animals across Nigeria, Cameroon, and Chad. But in recent years, insecurity, climate change, and poor infrastructure have made pastoral life increasingly difficult. Now, the PASCO project, led by international NGOs, including Action Against Hunger, is working to change that narrative. Its official launch was held in Yola, Adamawa State.
To support the resilience of actors, of stakeholders, of pastoralists in the transborder territories.
Major challenges apart from climate in terms of agricultural activities is available markets. We see after producing a lot of goods, they don't have available market and therefore suffer value for their activities.
The project aims to improve livestock market infrastructure, strengthen animal health services, and economically empower women and youth in pastoral communities. In Adamawa, where livestock plays a vital role in the local economy, government officials described the project as timely and impactful.
With the coming of this project, the GDP will highly increase because before it was about 42.5% of IGR. But hopefully with the coming of this project PASCO, they will intervene more. We will get a lot of IGP more than that with expectation to reach over 50%.
As implementation continues in Adamawa and Borno, stakeholders are hopeful that the initiative will restore dignity to pastoral livelihoods, reduce resource-based conflicts, and unlock the region's full livestock trade potential.
In Adamawa, the places mentioned are border areas where you have a lot of cross-border activities. So if you can enhance the value chain, you are going to have peace, you are going to have increased income of all the actors.
The issue of security, honestly, I've tackled, and I think as we are going now, the environment is favorable for the development and this marketing in the state.
Nigeria's livestock sector currently contributes about 5% to the nation's GDP, estimated at $32 billion. According to the Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, the federal government targets a 10% contribution by 2030, with a projected value of $74 billion by 2035. Gibson Soadigo, Trust TV News, Yola.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. The news will continue after this break. Welcome back. And now in business. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says it plans to pursue civil, administrative or criminal sanctions against parties found to have breached foreign exchange rules following the conclusion of a forensic audit into undelivered forward contracts. A document titled Frequently Asked Questions on the Settlement of Undelivered Forward Contracts, published on the bank's website on Thursday, reveals the development. The audit conducted by Deloitte from September 2023 reviewed transactions under the Retail Secondary Market Intervention Cells RSMIS window. According to the Apex Bank, the contracts involved upfront a naira payment in exchange for promised US dollar delivery on future dates, many of which went unfulfilled. The CBN said the audit was necessary to verify the legitimacy of these contracts, protect FX reserves, and uphold regulatory standards. The findings revealed extensive irregularities, including mismatches in beneficiaries' identities, exaggerated FX requests, use of incorrect or blank form submission, and approval of non-permissible imports. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, Thompson Sunday, has appealed to the Governor of the Central Bank, Olayemi Kodosu, to consider developing a joint crisis preparedness framework with the corporation to enhance crisis management. Sunday made the remark during a courtesy call on the CBN governor, where he listed some challenges facing the corporation. According to the head communication and public affairs, Hawa Gambo, Sunday said the absence of unique identifier such as the bank verification number for corporate customers and the difficulty in collecting premiums from insured institutions that do not maintain accounts with the CBN often proved a problem for the agency. In her response, the Director of Financial Policy and Regulation Department, CBN, Rita Sike, stated that the Joint Crisis Preparedness Framework could be dealt with under the auspices of the Financial Service Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC. She explained that the CBN was in process of enhancing the credit risk management system to integrate the global standing structure, which will allow for the onboarding of other financial institutions. Now away from Nigeria, a small plane carrying medical staff on Thursday crashed in densely populated neighborhood in Kenya's capital, killing 6 people, local authorities said. The Cessna plane, run by AMREF flying doctors, came down as it was flying to Hargeisa, the capital of Somali's breakaway territory of Somaliland, the charity said in a statement. Kiambu County Commissioner Henry Wafula said the 4 people on the board and 2 people on the ground were killed. The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority said the plane took off from Wilson Airport and lost contact with air traffic control 3 minutes later. Unidentified videos shared on social media showed firefighters trying to douse burning debris inside what appeared to be a residential compound.
6 dead. Yes, 2 doctors, 2 nurses. Of course, with the pilot, you can see the wreckages. The aircraft was being piloted, right? Yeah. So that's what has happened. And then 2 on the ground. You can see on the house. It landed fatally on the house. You can see serious injuries. We have already evacuated the seriously injured to hospital to be attended to.
How many were injured?
The ones who are injured. The ones seriously injured, 2. Unless we confirm otherwise.
Adults, kids?
Yes, we have an adult, an old lady. We have an old lady and a lady, a house, I think a house help or a relative. We have not yet established, but those two.
And now hundreds of supporters of Tunisian President Kais Saied staged a rally outside the headquarters of the powerful UGTT union on Thursday, urging Saied to suspend the union following a transport strike last week that paralyzed the country. The rally highlights growing fears among activists and opposition supporters of a possible move by Saied against one of the last major independent organizations in the North Africa country. Saied assumed sweeping powers in 2021, shut down the elected parliament, started ruling by decree, suspended the Supreme Judicial Council, and sacked dozens of judges in a move the opposition described as a coup. He said his actions were legal and intended to hold rampant chaos. The protesters chanted slogans such as "The people want the union to be suspended" and urged Saied to intervene against what they described as union gangs. The UGTT said it was under attack by criminal gangs which it accused of recruiting children to attack its headquarters. Union spokesman Sami Tari also said the authorities were behind the protest rally. And now it's time for us to join Joseph Peter for more news on sports.
The victorious D-Tigers players and officials are still basking in the euphoria of the welcome they received from both the government, corporate Nigeria, and Nigerians for winning the AfroBasket for the 5th consecutive times. D-Tigers players and their officials have been warmly received back home since their heroic feat in Abidjan, where they did the unprecedented by winning the African Women title for a record 5 times in a row. Nigeria Basketball Federation (NBBF) alongside the National Sport Commission (NSC) ensured the team was flown back home as royalties in a chartered flight to officially present the trophy to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu (GCFR) at the Presidential Villa. Looking at all the rewards and accolades that were put together for the team in the last few days, the players expressed profound gratitude and appreciation to the federal government and the corporate bodies and all individuals across the country. The captain of the team, Amy Okonkwo, described all the reception as an unforgettable experience of a lifetime for them. Amy Okonkwo, who was adjudged the best player of the tournament, also gave a special appreciation to the leadership of the Nigerian Basketball Federation (NBBF) led by its president, Engineer Musa Kida. Engineer Musa Kida has also thanked everyone for making the victory of the girls an unforgettable experience, expressing confidence that this will surely open a new era of growth for basketball in the country. That's Sport News. I'm Joseph Peter.
And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to watch and catch us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentaries. I'm Fatima Ahmed Musa from E&J. Thanks for watching.